What's going on, you guys? Frost here, and I'm back with another guide. This time I'll be telling you guys how I play Amumu jungle. If you find this guide helpful in any way, please do remember to click that like button, as it will help me get this guide out there to more people. Also, if anything changes, there will be an update in the description. The following subjects will be mentioned in this guide: champion description, abilities, leveling order, runes, masteries, the item build, and the jungle strategy. If you want to go to specific subjects, you can click on it right now. Champion description. Amumu is a very good jungler with an insanely fast jungle clear. The only downside is clearing his jungle takes all of his mana. But this problem is fixed by getting your AP jungle item. This will give you the mana sustain in the jungle. And it also increases Amumu jungle clear speed even more. Besides having a good clear speed, Amumu also has great ganks from a fairly early point in the game, because when you hit his Q, the enemy will be straight up stunned. And when you get into teamfighting stage in the mid to late game, with Amumu you'll straight up dominate this because he has an AoE ult that can snare the entire enemy team. And with the build I'll show you later in this video, you will also one-shot their carries. So if you like a champion that is quite farm heavy with some solid ganks and a very good teamfight potential, Amumu is definitely the champion for you. Amumu's abilities. His passive, Cursed Touch. Amumu's basic attack reduces target magic resist by 15, 20, 25 for 3 seconds. This debuff will refresh every single basic attack. This passive is insanely good. It helps you with dealing more damage on all of your skills, plus the jungle item proc. Also, always try to auto attack so you can proc this passive onto the target before you use your skills. Of course, there will be situations where you can't do this, but try to do it because the MR threat your passive gives is just too good. His first ability, Bandage Toss. Amumu tosses a line of linen in the target direction that catches on the first enemy it hits, stunning it for 1 second, dealing magic damage and pulling Amumu to it. This skill is what you mainly use when you're ganking, as it will stun the opponent for 1 second and allow you to catch up to the enemy. This skill is also great to engage teamfights with, as you can hit at the target in the front line and then flash ult their carries. Don't use this skill when you're clearing your jungle. If you use it when clearing and you get invaded, you're dead. And people love to invade Amumu, so be very careful. His second ability, Despair. Amumu's tears begin to pool around him. Enemies within the pool take magic damage per second equal to a base amount plus a percentage of their maximum health. This percentage health damage is not capped against monsters, meaning that you will get objectives like Baron and Dragon very quickly. And it also allows you to clear your jungle in no time. This is great because then you can put a lot more pressure on the map since you can farm faster. And you don't lose anything for it. His third ability, Tantrum. Passively the skill reduces physical damage by a certain amount that scales with each point you put into the skill. Upon using this ability, Amumu releases his anger, dealing magic damage to nearby enemies. The cooldown of this skill is reduced by 0.5 seconds for each auto attack that hits Amumu. This skill is pretty much your main damaging skill, as the cooldown is low and the damage is high. And for example, if you're fighting any minion wave, you can use the skill like 3 times in 2 seconds, which is pretty stupid. His fourth ability, Curse of the Sad Mummy. Amumu entangles all enemies in a certain radius of this skill, dealing magic damage and rendering them unable to move and attack for 2 seconds. This skill is amazing when it comes to teamfights, because you can hit it onto the entire enemy team to deal a lot of damage and allow your team to pretty much kill everyone for free. Especially when you build Amumu the way I do. You will have a lot of fun ulting people to pretty much take all their health. Also guys, don't be afraid to just use it in a 1v1 situation or anything like that, because it's better to use it and get the kill than to save it and either miss the kill or just die yourself, as this ability does a lot of damage. Leveling these abilities. On level 1 I start with my W because this will help me with the fastest initial camp clear for the least amount of mana. Then on level 2 I'll take my E for the most clear speed and damage when you're doing your buff camp. Then on level 3 I'll take Q, and sometimes I'll put a second point into my E if I'm 100% sure that it will not get invaded, and the second point into your E actually speeds up your jungle by so much. You only have to take Q if you're expecting an invade or you want to gank a lane early on. As far as maxing goes, I'll max my E first for the most damage output and the damage reduction, then I'll max my Q second for a lower cooldown on it and more burst damage, and I'll max my W last because it's percentage health damage, and it doesn't really scale better than all your other skills when you put points into it. And of course you take your R whenever possible. The runes. I take 9 magic pen marks, 9 flat armor seals, 9 scaling AP glyphs and 3 flat AP quints. I take the 9 magic pen marks because this will give you the biggest damage increase, as legit all of your damage is AP. Then I take 9 flat armor seals to help me survive the jungle early on. I take 9 scaling AP glyphs because as a Amumu you don't really want to be banking on the pre-6 early game, so taking flat AP will not be worth it as much on your glyphs. And finally I take 3 flat AP quints to make my early AP high enough to be able to clear at a nice pace. The Masteries. I go for 18, 0, 12 on Amumu. In the Ferocity tree I take the increased spell damage because Amumu's damage is pretty much all spell damage. Then you simply take the little increase in damage from Dangerous Game. After that, you go down the right side and you take the Deathfire Touch. Going down the right side will offer you the biggest damage increase that you can get for Amumu out of the Masteries. Then in the Resolve tree, I take the increased health, sustain, movement speed, and a summoner spell reduction. The reason I go for this tree is because the cooldown reduction on your flash really helps you get those big ultimate plays. The item build. There is really only one item build that makes Amumu work very well as a jungler. Going for the full tank build is something you can do, but I don't advise this at all. Anyway, let's get into my build for Amumu. Starting off, you want to get yourself a Hunter's Talisman with a refillable potion. After clearing just 3 camps, you want to go back and buy the Hunter's Machete. Then you full clear your jungle and you go back and buy the Stalker's Upgrade alongside a pair of regular boots. After this, you want to finish your jungle item off with the AP enchant and then finish your boots into a pair of swords. At this stage, you will already have a lot of damage and you can start one-shotting people. Anyway, to continue on with the build, you want to get yourself a Haunting Geist to increase your magic pen and to make killing people even easier. Now, if you're really fat, you can potentially finish your Hunting Guys into a Liandry's for more damage, but I advise just going for Rylai's now. Getting this item will make you quite tanky, but it mainly means that people cannot get away from you. After Rylai's, you want to get yourself a Liandry's. Combining these 2 items will deal a serious amount of damage and will shred through anyone quickly on the enemy team. And because you don't need any more damage at this moment in time, you can just go for tank items, so the enemy won't be able to kill you. First off, you want to always get Frozen Heart. This item is insanely good on Amumu. It gives you CDR, armor, and mana. That is exactly what you want. Then on the last item, you can either go for a Banshees or you can go for a Thornmail if you're against a full AD team. Getting later into the game, you should replace your jungle item with a Death Cap or a Void Staff if they have a lot of magic resist. The jungle strategy. In the background right now, you can see the jungle routes for both sides of the map. Whilst this is playing, I'll talk to you guys a little bit about ganking, team fighting, and objective control. But first, you will notice in the jungle route, I always back after 3 camps. The reason I do this is 1, it's safer, and 2, it will make clearing a lot easier if you have both your machete and a talisman. Especially on Amumu, since he gets quite low unless he has at least level 3. Anyway, let's get into ganking now. On Amumu, you can pretty much start ganking from level 3 onwards, and these ganks will be very successful if you land your Q, because this is straight up a stun. Always try to save your Q as long as possible and don't try to throw it from massive distances unless you have no choice, because it will be a lot harder to hit that way. Plus, if you keep it, you're kind of mind gaming the opponent and they will try to juke something that's not even gonna happen. Then when it comes to team fighting, Amumu is pretty much a god. All you want to try to do is simply ult as many people as you can. If you land a 4 to 5 man ult, winning the team fight will almost be guaranteed. Not hitting the tank with your ultimate is fine, but always try to hit the backline with it. And finally, objective control. Once you get Rylai's and Liandry's, you can potentially start Baron up instantly because you will kill him so fast. Before that, you can easily solo Dragon once you get your jungle item because your W will deal a lot of damage. And clearing the Scuttle Crab is very easy, but remember to always start with your Q on the crabs because that will make it a lot easier to kill them. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you've enjoyed it or learned anything from it, please do remember to click that like button right below this video as this helps me get this video out there. If you would like to see more guides like this, hit that subscribe button and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!